this is Dr. Katie from Craig Chiropractic and Kinesiology, and today we're going to be talking about natural immune supports. Now, winter feels like it's starting to get into full swing here in Minnesota, and with that comes cold and flu season, as many of you are already aware. And the question already comes up, what are some natural safe things you can have on hand at home or take as preventative to help with cold and flu season? So in a minute, we're going to switch over to a slide and go through some potential supplements. Now, not all of these are appropriate for every patient. I am sharing this purely just for educational information. None of this eliminates the fact that you still may need to see your healthcare provider. Many times with herbs and other supplements, we strongly recommend getting tested, such as if you come into clinic here and get muscle tested or another similar provider where we can make sure that your body is good with the herbs and find the appropriate type and dosage for you. All right, that being said, let's get started. All right, and for our discussion on natural immunity things you can do at home to boost your immune system during cold and flu season, we're going to start with elderberry. So some of you may be familiar with this one already. Elderberry is a very powerful antioxidant. It's great for the immune system, generally safe for children as well as adults. And this is a great thing to take while you're sick and also what we call prophylactically. So that means taking something as a preventative to help keep from getting sick. So these are two different forms that we carry in clinic from the brand Elderberry Queen. We carry both the original syrup and then the elderberry gummies. They both have their pros and cons, so to speak. There aren't very many cons, but that say that the syrup does have to be refrigerated. So for my personal use with my husband and I, we prefer to keep the syrup at home because we can keep it in the fridge. Now, the gummies are originally designed more for children, but I can say as an adult, if traveling, I love the gummies because I don't have to refrigerate them. I can put them in a backpack, in a purse, in my suitcase, and it's a great way to still have immune support on the go. And it's great because this brand is supporting a small business. So that is really awesome, and we love these products, as do our patients. All right, and after elderberry, we are going to talk about vitamin C, vitamin D, and good immune support. Everybody always asks about these ones, especially during cold and flu season. And here in Minnesota, where, for example, we do not get a lot of sunlight or natural vitamin D in the winter, what are some good forms to supplement with? Now, there are many, many good brands and forms out there. This is just one brand that I personally use and am a fan of and have had good success with patients on for these supplements. So we'll start with that vitamin D3 5000. You want to make sure that it has the K2 to help with absorption. This is something that we do carry in stock on the shelf in clinic if you ever want to swing into Craig Chiropractic and Kinesiology. If you're looking for a good potent form of vitamin C, I recommend the vitamin C complex up here. And then some of you may not be familiar, but Nutridyne also makes a great immune support, like down here at the bottom. This is a wonderful blend. It has vitamin C, D, it has zinc, which is great for immunity, as well as medicinal mushrooms. So very antimicrobial and helps your immune system fight all those bugs, right? So this is a great start if you're looking for something. And yes, certainly we have the vitamin D always in stock at clinic. If you need C or an immune support, just simply contact our clinic or swing in and we can easily order those in for you. All right. The next thing I would recommend to help fight off cold and flu season is Zicam. So this can be found at most grocery stores or basically any pharmacy. You just go in the pharmacy section where they have things for colds and flus and you will see Zicam. So this is a homeopathic remedy. It's meant to take shortly at the beginning, like when you first get cold symptoms. And you can see the top one up here is the nasal swab version, and then at the bottom you have the nasal spray. It's the same formula, it just is your preference on do you prefer the spray versus the swabs. Personally, I like the swabs better. You know, it's not necessarily fun swabbing out, but if it helps prevent you getting sick, I really like that. It's very soothing. Another advantage of if you get the pack of all the swabs that come in there, they are all individually wrapped, you know, together, or I should say they're all separately individually wrapped. So if you have like a family, if you have a spouse, this is something where everybody can get their own, so there's no sharing or cross-contamination, which is nice with the swabs. When you buy the nasal spray, it just comes as one spray and only one person can use that. That's not something that can be shared. So something to keep in mind. I think this is helpful to help, fight off cold symptoms and also soothe the nose when things get very, very inflamed. So recommend this one. All right, next up, we're going to discuss throat spray. Now, this is wonderful for things like scratchy throat, coughs, and especially those really annoying sore throats. Sometimes it's nice to just spray something that's very soothing to the back of the throat. And these are some better natural options than, you can traditionally find in like grocery stores and different places. So personally, I love the one here by Quantum Health, TheraZinc. I have used this personally myself with things like sore throat, mono, other various symptoms when you have the swollen glands and everything's raw. This one is very, very soothing. It's fairly pleasant as a flavor, but it has good medicinal properties. The ingredients are pretty clean, which I appreciate. Typically, you can order this one online. Otherwise, some health food stores carry this one. The other one down here by Herb Farm, this is another one. It is very potent, I will say. So if you have a sore throat, it will coat it very well and probably help. It just has that strong kind of herbal tincture that'll hit you in the face a little bit, but it is helpful. If you need something strong, I definitely recommend checking out either one of these. It might come down to your preference and what you like, but either one of these are decent options. All right, on this slide, we're going to discuss supplements that may be helpful for things like congestion, coughs, and sinus pressure. Now, this is not a comprehensive list. There are many more natural products that are wonderful. These are just great things to start with and reach for, or even have available on hand for your family, and they're fairly safe. So the first one here at the top, Antranex. This is actually a liver support originally, but it acts almost like an antihistamine in a way and is wonderful for allergies and coughing, especially chronic coughing. Typically with Antranex, if you have active symptoms, we say to take up to 1 per hour until symptoms subside. Okay, so that is a great one to start with. If we swing down here to the bottom, we have Spanish black radish. Now this is a lymphatic drainer. So it means if you have things like swollen lymph nodes, this product will help flush those and drain the fluid. Okay, if you have those swollen glands at the bottom of the throat, very helpful. This is helpful with things like sinus pressure. It's also helpful for things like heavy metal detox. So that's a fun fact for you. That's another good one to have on hand. In the center here, we have quercetin and bromelain. These are great. They're used in, sort of like calming, I don't know if they're necessarily in the antihistamine category, but they're anti-inflammatory. That's the word I'm looking for. Very good at calming everything, good for allergies and general respiratory health. Now, as far as supplements go and brands, in clinic we carry standard process. Both the Antranex and the Spanish black radish are available on the shelf anytime you swing into clinic for purchase. If you're looking for something like quercetin bromelain, we don't necessarily have this one in stock all the time, and there are many, many good brands out there. I'm just recommending Swanson here because Swanson is a good step up from things like grocery store vitamins. Now, it's important that when you learn about vitamins, I always recommend to patients, don't just run out to the nearest grocery store or supermarket and start buying vitamins. Quality does matter. And high quality supplements, unfortunately, can be very expensive. I always say, get the highest quality supplement you can afford. If you are on a tighter budget, for example, and you're like, okay, I need a vitamin, I can't get the most expensive one, but I need something that's safe, that will not harm me, and that will actually work, I recommend checking out Swanson Vitamins. They have a website and a catalog. You can order from them. A lot of their products are pretty clean. Okay, they're a good starter. They might not be as potent as like a Nutridyne or Standard Process, but they're a great place to start, especially during these cold and flu seasons. All right. So I am very excited for this slide as this is all about tea, and I happen to be a tea lover myself. Now, not everyone is big on tea, but this is wonderful when you're sick. This is something, for the most part, the whole family can enjoy. And this brand is wonderful, and you can get this at almost any grocery store. You don't have to just go to a health food store. Walmart would have this Cub. Check your local grocery store for sure. So this is traditional medicinals. The most common and most highly recommended, I would say here, is the throat coat tea. This is wonderful for sore throats and just generally not feeling well. Comes in many different flavors. And just to clarify, this is not a sponsored post by any means. None of the products I'm sharing in this video am I sponsored for or representing. I just personally love these products and have had good results with them, as have some of my patients. So throat coat is probably the number one I'd recommend. The second one I would for sure say is ginger, or the different variations of ginger. This is great for calming nausea, especially when you're feeling icky. Ginger is wonderful. You can add fresh lemon juice if you'd like, and honey, and makes a really great soothing blend. If you're looking for other blends too, echinacea is great for, boosting that immunity, as is this Immune Zoom down here. So you really can't go wrong unless you have any particular sensitivities, of course. Always take that into account, but this is a great lineup to start with. All right, on this slide, we are going to discuss what is the neti pot. Have you ever heard of this before? This one's a little more unusual per se, and perhaps you've never heard of it, but it's actually super, super helpful. So basically, you take this pot that's right here and you fill it with a salt water solution is what you do. And then you take the end of it here, this nice little end, and you're gonna tip your head, and then you will actually go ahead and put it up to your upper nostril. It will go ahead, let the fluid run up your nose, and then it's going to run down the other side and drip out. So basically, this helps clear the mucus discomfort. It helps just flush it and get it out, especially if you have the stuffy nose where it's like, wow, I can't breathe, it's running down my throat, it's nasty, all the crud that comes with sinus infections in this time of year. Neti pots are a wonderful, safe way. They come in many different styles. This is just more of a classic style neti pot. Some of them use syringes or squeeze bottles. Not everybody prefers these or is comfortable with them, and that's just fine, but it's just something to consider that's safe and can really help flush a lot of that out and help with head pressure. So, something worth considering. And here we are talking about topical pain management. Okay, so often when you're sick, think like the colds, the flus, you often have the body aches, right? Which do not feel good, the achy muscles, the general just feeling of being unwell. I find that using topical things can be very helpful just to help mitigate symptoms and be more comfortable during the times. So I'm going to just start here by looking at our option. Up here at the top, we have what is called arnica gel. Now, this can be found at almost any grocery store. Now, you can find it at health food stores, of course, or order it online. But if you go to any pharmacy department, whether at a grocery store or regular pharmacy, you go where all like the pain gels are. So find like the Icy Hot, the BioFreeze, this will be there. You look for arnica-based gel. This is a homeopathic remedy. It's a topical, very safe even to use on children, and you can topically put it on. It's very soothing, and this is wonderful for bruising, actually, if you've ever dealt with that. So that is a great place to start. I recommend this to patients, and they use it frequently, as do I at home. Okay, next thing down in the middle, we have the CBD cream. Now, we do sell this one in clinic, okay? So this comes from the brand CBD Clinic, okay? And it is level 5, which is the top clinical level you can get for a CBD cream, okay? You can't purchase this one like at a grocery store or some other store. You have to get it through a doctor or a clinic, just to clarify. Now, this is one of the top levels pain creams you can get in this form. We love it, especially in patients that have chronic or severe pain. Sometimes it's helpful to help them, in between appointments when they can get adjusted and to be more comfortable. This is some seriously good pain cream. It's some of the best in my personal opinion. We don't even carry the lower levels. We only carry level 5. And we think it's wonderful. It is a little bit more of an investment. This tub costs around $90. However, a little goes a long way, and it will last you and your family quite a while. It's just something to keep in mind. It's the upfront cost. And if you're ever interested in trying this, if you come in for an appointment, I will often allow you to try it. If something's really inflamed or hurt, I'll put a little bit on you so you can feel it. And sometimes we'll send you home with samples, so you can certainly ask. I always like patients to try products first before especially they invest in something like this. So that is an option you can ask us about, of course. And then if you're looking for a little bit, cheaper option that's still somewhat helpful, down here at the bottom, we have the Aches and Pains Essential Oil Roller from Windmere. Okay, this is a brand we carry in clinic. I am a fan of it. There's one other essential oil company I like called Plant Therapy. So Windmere and Plant Therapy are the two essential oil brands I personally use. I like them because they are a pure grade. They have research. They're very high quality. Also, their prices are very reasonable, and you do not have to get into multi-level marketing to purchase these. Okay, anybody can purchase them. Windmere is a small, I believe it's a small business from Minnesota, if I remember correctly, and we do carry Windmere in clinic, so you could easily pick that up if you're in clinic with us. It's not nearly as potent as the CBD cream, but it's still really nice for relaxing muscles. So here's a little trick that I like when I'm not feeling well. So if I had, a sinus infection and I'm very, very inflamed and sore all through this area, I will actually take that arnica gel. And again, be mindful, don't get too close to eyes, but if it's just down here by the nose and sinuses, when it's all red and puffy and my nose hurts, I will put arnica down the nose and on the cheeks. It's very cooling and cold, and it can feel so good just to massage that out and just let that sit. Again, just be mindful of the eyes. There can be a little bit of fumes. You want to be careful. Now, let's say someone has something like strep throat. What about mono? You know how much that is uncomfortable. A lot of times these glands get super swollen. My little trick, I love taking that CBD cream and actually putting it right here on those swollen glands. Again, the CBD cream is very potent and has a very strong menthol smell, so you don't want this near eyes, mouth, etc. But if I do just a little bit on the glands underneath, that is wonderful. If you ever deal with the really painful ear aches, where your ears are just really sore, I will sometimes take the CBD cream and actually put it behind the ear, okay, and down to help with drainage and pain relief, to help me avoid having to take things like painkillers. Okay, and then just for general topical aches and pains, I love the essential oil roller blend. So things to think about for your family and some different options there. So we just finished talking about topical pain management. What about oral pain management, or simply things that you can take, right, that help manage pain? Sometimes when we're sick, we'd like to avoid taking things like ibuprofen or Tylenol if at all possible. So here are some alternatives. Again, this is not comprehensive. I know I keep saying that, but this is just scratching the surface, and this is a good place to start if you're like, okay, I don't know where to start. So I'm going to recommend the brand Nutridyne here. They have some wonderful blends. On the left here, we can see this is known as Muscle Ease Advanced. This is like a really good natural painkiller. It's meant to relax muscles, but some people find it very helpful for things like headaches and general discomfort. It's nice to try this one before taking an ibuprofen. Now, I use Muscle Ease Advanced personally more for things like pain, headaches, things like that. Over here, the Herbal Ease, this one is very nice, but I put this more in the relaxation category. It's like, oh, I'm just really tight and stiff right now, or my stomach's a little bit upset because I'm feeling unwell. The Herbal Ease is more of a ginger base with that turmeric, so I love it for digestive upsets, as well as general relaxation, where for more of your severe pain, I love the Muscle Ease Advanced. Okay, Muscle Ease Advanced has things like valerian and lemon balm, and I think, is it passion flower as well? A nice blend there. Now, in the center here, I'm showing a couple products from Swanson Health. We talked about them a little bit earlier as well. There is other very good brands as well. But white willow bark is a classic, okay, in painkillers. You can take it by itself or in a blend with other natural anti-inflammatories. Otherwise, this is a good one to start with. And then here is lemon balm. I personally love lemon balm by itself. I get really good results with it. It's an excellent sleep support, so it helps relax, okay? And, I don't find it super drowsy. I find it more that it allows you to relax so that you can sleep. Lemon balm is something I will take during the day if I have pain or discomfort. So something to keep in mind. These are just a few places you can start for natural pain relief. Okay, So now let's address respiratory symptoms, okay? And most of what I'm sharing here is to help relieve symptoms while you have them, okay? So it's just to help make you feel more comfortable. Now I'm gonna start with pleurisy root. Now this one is a little bit more than just, symptom relieving. This one may be able to help somewhat with root cause, depending on the case. I love pleurisy root, particularly this brand, as pleurisy root is a natural expectorant. So what does that mean? An expectorant is what breaks up congestion, especially down in the chest and the lungs when it gets really deep and you just can't cough it up yourself, or you try and you know how it's just heavy down there and it weighs when you have those respiratory infections. Pleurisy root is very safe. It's actually safe to use in pets like dogs, and it is safe for humans. So you typically take this tincture, mix it with water, and drink it down. It has the possibility to increase coughing for a little while, but the thing you will notice is it's a productive cough, meaning it's helping to clear those lungs out. And then I personally find that it's very soothing to those irritated bronchioles down there. So I love pleurisy root here. This is a great one. Something to consider, even if you are an asthmatic patient and you deal with asthma, this can be really nice to open up the chest. Okay, so just a few things on the side here that can just help with symptoms, right? And just general discomfort. We have a couple essential oil blends, of course. These are classics. Eucalyptus is probably one of the most well-known, and I just shared both brands here that I use, both Plant Therapy and Windmere. We do carry Windmere in clinic, and we have that in both blends here. So eucalyptus is wonderful. Great thing you can do with that blend is you can take it in your shower and put a few drops on your shower floor. Just make sure it's not in a spot you'll slip. And then turn on the shower hot so you get the steam, and when you're in there, it will steam with that eucalyptus and you'll be able to breathe that in. Now, of course, with anything with scents, whether essential oils or menthol, I always give the disclaimer, only use if you do not have any chemical sensitivities. This may not be appropriate if you are sensitive, so just keep that in mind. Now, eucalyptus is the classic. Another great option is the Breathe blend. This takes eucalyptus and many of the other great essential oils to help just open up the passageways and help you feel better. Some people like to diffuse these. The cool part is at Windmere, they do make little inhalers. They look almost like a chapstick type tube where you can unscrew the top and you can just breathe in that blend and feel the calming. And then it's great because you can re-screw it back up. It can go in a pocket, purse, on the go. Feel free to ask us about those in clinic. We often carry those or could easily order those in for you. All right. We're starting to come into a close here as we're wrapping things up on our discussion of natural things that can help cold and flu season be just a little bit more comfortable. Now, what happens if you have that chronic dry cough that just won't stop? So you know what I'm talking about, where you just want to cough and it just itches and you're coughing uncontrollably for a while. Well, here's a few recommendations I have for you because I've certainly been there myself and it's no fun. I always recommend starting with Antranex. We have that, like I said, available in clinic. And Antranex is wonderful, very safe. You can take, like I said, up to 1 per hour. Usually is what's recommended there until symptoms subside, and then you'd back off, okay, on your dosage. That's a great one to actually get in internally to help soothe things. I believe I had shared on a previous slide pleurisy root. That's another option too that might be helpful in this case. Something else you can do, throat coat tea can sometimes be soothing to get something down there, as well as doing a throat spray, just like we talked about earlier, getting something to help coat and soothe the throat. Another thing I like is topically. Now, if you need to, certainly dilute your essential oils or get them in the roller form so they're already appropriate for skin. I personally am okay using the Breathe blend or eucalyptus just right out of the bottle. That's not appropriate for everyone, so certainly use discretion there. But whether you dilute or not, you're gonna take it, rub on the throat and down into the chest. You can use the Breathe blend, you can use eucalyptus. Sometimes I'll even use peppermint, okay? Certainly, again, use discretion if you have chemical sensitivities, but those can be wonderful things to just kind of soak and just sit there and help open things up, especially if you have a chronic cough. Last thing I will talk about is cough drops. I understand that these are controversial, right, in the health world, because are they really any better than candy? Use discretion with your cough drops. They're not my first choice, but if you have a chronic cough, sometimes they can be a lifesaver. So for me in that scenario, it is something that I will reach for. Like if I'm at work and it's like I have this chronic cough, I need it to go away so I can finish my job, or maybe you're a busy parent, here is an option. Now, I like the Ricola brand. They're better than a lot of the traditional brands, and they have some good herbs in them, and they actually work. I've tried some other natural brands, and while I want to support them, they just frankly don't work for me. So Ricola is a nice trade-off. I know traditional medicinals also make some cough drops. I've never tried them, but it's something worth thinking about. And, just an alternative here. All right, so these are kind of my go-to if you have a chronic, really annoying cough, just to help get it gone with that itch. All right, here we are on our final slide. Thanks for hanging with me during this discussion. So the final thing we're gonna wrap up with today is herbs. A little bit about herbal medicine. Now, just as a disclaimer, if you have never personally used herbs before, I always recommend either coming to clinic and either see Dr. Craig or myself to get tested on these, or if you live in a different area, certainly see your natural healthcare provider. Herbs are wonderful. They have great antimicrobial properties to help clear out all the bad bugs, whether that's things like viruses, bacteria, parasites, etc. But the thing is, not everybody does well with all kinds of herbs, so it's very, very important to take herbs seriously, to respect them, and to use them appropriately so that you get the results you're looking for and that there's no negative side effects. Okay, so herbs are generally safe, but that's when they're used appropriately. So this is just the caution I use. Now, if you're a patient of mine seeing this and you've already used some of these herbs and you know how your body responds, this is a great time to, stock up on those herbs and have them available for yourself during cold and flu season. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I'm going to just briefly describe what each of these herbs are good for. We're just going to fly through this, and then we'll have some wrap-up thoughts. So this is from the brand Supreme Nutrition. I really love this brand. These are just pure herbs in capsule form. They do have a few tinctures, but I've been very, very happy with the capsule powder form, and patients do very well with them typically. Now, Mangista, we're going to start here up at the top. This is a naturally red color herb, and this is a wonderful herb for lymphatic drainage. So think, if you get a sore throat and you have that swollen glands, right? Hard to swallow, you have all the swelling, this is a great one to help that. Sometimes I will pair this herb up with other herbs because I find that Mangista tends to clean up really well. So I'll put a stronger herb in first to sort of clean house, sort of clear out all the bad guys. And then Mangista comes in afterwards and actually is the cleanup crew that helps flush everything, if that makes sense. But again, that's a case-by-case basis. But that is Mangista. I love that. Very anti-inflammatory. It's great for getting rid of swelling too. Okay, Malia. This is probably one of the most common herbs we use in clinic. It's a great general antimicrobial herb. It's even good for things like parasites. Okay, olive leaf and then morinda. These are another class of antimicrobials, which again, different people, different needs, and they're great. I love those too. The cryptolepis, this is a fairly new one that we've just gotten in clinic within the past few months, and it's starting to take on some speed. We're seeing as many cases now that need cryptolepis as previously Malia. So it's a nice contender there, very helpful. Down here at the bottom, we have Golden Thread Supreme. This is great for things like allergies, right? And is also good for cold and flu symptoms. In the middle here, we have Vital Guard. Now this is from the chrysanthemum flower, if you're familiar with that. This is one of the only herbs that is safe for children or babies. Now you have to be very cautious with herbs with young children. And in this case, this is a very safe one. It's very gentle, antimicrobial, so it's great for kids if they get sick, okay? And then finally down here on the right, this is Elysium Supreme, or the star anise, if you're familiar with that. This is great antiviral, okay? So wonderful for flu season and the cold. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can certainly reach out to clinic. In the case of herbs like this, we do have these available for purchase in clinic. Again, if you're ever unsure about an herb or an herb is new, always recommend making an appointment first, and let's customize the treatment plan to you. All right, I hope this video was helpful, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.